breaking story. We sent out a special e-blast this evening announcing this radio program to make sure that people knew that we were going to be talking about something that we have to pay attention to. We are about to go into talking about the 900-pound gorilla that is in everyone's room, including the rooms that we are all in right now, and that is our invader from Japan, the radiation of Fukushima. Dr. Rima, do you want to tell us what's been going on in the past 72 or thereabout hours in our quest?
I sure do. Everybody who is a subscriber to our newsletter, the Health Freedom Action Alert, knows. And if you're not a subscriber, I strongly recommend that you become one. The way to do that is to go to our website, Dr. Rima, R-I-M-A, truthreports.com, and put your name in. Put your email in and your first name, and we will make sure that you are then subscribed to the Dr. Rima Truth Reports. Well, as you know, we are very concerned with the issues of Fukushima and radiation and the nuclear mafia and the incredible destructiveness to the planet, to us, to every aspect of our lives. We track and follow the radiation realities very closely. Well, I was looking at some charts for the United States on gamma radiation, which is one of the classes of radiation that you're exposed to when a nuclear system like Fukushima goes bad, as it has done. And so I was looking at the charts for gamma radiation for American cities. And I was seeing that they were not only high, they were rising rapidly. And interestingly, when I looked at the historical data going back before Fukushima, when I looked at 4 years worth of data, and Fukushima, of course, occurred in March of 2011, so it's 3 1/4 years. When I looked at 4 years worth of data, what I discovered was that the gamma radiation was on a rising trajectory, and that many, many U.S. cities had been, for that entire 4 years, or virtually the entire 4 years, above the EPA's evacuation contamination level. Now, let me give you those figures briefly. I'm not going to take time to explain all the physics behind it, but if you have a Geiger counter and it's counting gamma radiation, and there are different types of radiation, it's counting gamma radiation, and you have 272 clicks per minute with a cesium-137 reference, then you are above the evacuation limit, or you are at the evacuation limit that the EPA and other international organizations agree upon. When you're in that kind of environment, you need to leave, and probably you'll never come back to your home again. Miami has been over 400. Fresno has been over 350 for most of that 4 years. Hartford, Connecticut has been over that limit for significantly over for most of that 4 years, all of that 4 years, and on and on. And I started looking at this, and then I began looking at the beta radiation, and I discovered something really, really, really fascinating. And by the way, I have a white paper available for you for free. If you go to the link that Ralph is going to give you later on, you'll be able to download this very, very important paper. For the cities that have been above the evacuation limit, which no one is telling them about, because you remember the government has a mantra, and the mantra is no harm to human health, no harm to human health. Well, when that mantra is chanted, you can't tell people, oh yeah, 3/4 of the cities in the United States have to be evacuated, and oh, by the way, where exactly are we going to put everybody? The empty cities in China? I don't know. Where do you think we should put them, Fred? And so what you have is a public relations and a public health disaster, which is best met the way governments including our own meat disasters, which is to lie. And so here's what they've done. Beta radiation is one of the other types of radiation that you're going to meet in this kind of Fukushima-esque situation. Beta radiation is emitted inside your body by such things as strontium-90, potassium-40, plutonium, or iodine-131, and a whole bunch of other not good for you radioisotopes. So they get inside your body, they get into your bones and your muscles. Cesium-137 is particularly attracted to heart muscle, which is why it causes cardiovascular disease in children and others. And the beta is cataclysmic. Well, the beta, you can imagine, during the Fukushima time of immediate collapse of the Fukushima system, was very, very high. But you'd have to imagine it, because here's what I found. On the beta charts, for those cities who have been above the evacuation level for this whole time that we're talking about, there is a complete absence of data, a complete blank. There is no data at all. But on those cities which have not been above the evacuation limit, they've been high. You know, if the limit is 272, maybe they've been 250, maybe they've been 228 most of the time, but in gamma. But their beta data is completely intact, untouched. And here's my question. Who, what, where, when, why is this crime against humanity being committed? Now, Ralph, how do people get hold of my white paper?
Well, we're going to be setting up an e-blast to provide the white paper. We'll be doing it through an emailing that'll go out probably in the next 24 hours or so. This particular section of our program is being Camtasia recorded, and it will be available on YouTube. I hope within 24 hours. So we'll be sending out a way to get to the access and a way to get to the white paper at the same time. That means you have to be on the newsletter list. If you are signed up, you need to make sure that dr.labo@gmail.com is whitelisted on your email system, because we are getting blocked heavily. We are getting heavily blocked by email service providers, and that's the problem.
You mean like the ones that are owned by Time Warner and Comcast? You mean like those service providers and Google? And yes, we are getting heavily blocked, because these are not corporate-friendly facts. They are people-friendly facts.
You got it.
And there's a real war to keep you from having the information that you need. And we're on the side of communication. Now, this is a crime against humanity. People are being denied not only informed consent, they're being denied the information that would allow them to take protective steps, whatever they might be. Heading to the deep south, Chile, South Africa, they might be taking radioprotective nutrients. There are many things that you can do. But if you don't know what's happening, you can do nothing to protect yourself and your loved ones. And oh, by the way, children are more sensitive to the ravages of radiation than grown-ups, but everyone is prey to those ravages. So this is a breaking story. This information is being suppressed, and I believe we are the first people to have seen it.
And this is important because although there have been some that have been reporting that the radiation levels around the world are increasing, what we're showing here is that there is a cover-up, an attempt to prevent people from knowing what these levels really are, which is a difficult thing to do in a world in which we have the internet connections we have today. So what we've done is we've put together initially an estimate of situation that General Burt wrote a few days ago. That estimate of situation is about to get Dr. Rima's addendum to it. They'll all be available on the same webpage, and that webpage is one of our tiny URLs. It is tinyurl.com/Fukushima Fire, because it was a fire at Fukushima plant just a few weeks ago, allowed us to look closely and find these anomalies. That fire and our ongoing discussions with Ambassador Murata in Japan have led us to look very closely at the actual recordings. It is hiding in plain sight. What is going on is hiding in plain sight. And it takes an intelligence officer like General Burt to help us see what we're not supposed to see, so we understand what we're not supposed to understand.
Precisely.
Right?
Precisely. Now, one of the things you need to go to Dr. Dr. Rima, R-I-M-A, truthreports.com. And if you're not on the mailing list, you need to sign up for the mailing list. The newsletter is free. The information can quite literally save your life. It's definitely worth having.